Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Maximillian's Earthen Grasp.
Whoa! Yeah, it's a hand from the ground. It's really cool. This is a second level transmutation spell. I believe it was from the Elemental Evil Player's Companion that came whenever the first adventure post launch Prince of the Apocalypse was released. Now it's printed in Examiner's Guide to everything. In either case, second level transmutation spell for sorcerers and wizards. Action to cast, 30-foot cast range, verbal somatic material components, a miniature hand sculpted from clay. Cute. Concentration up to a minute. Concentration's annoying. You choose a 5-foot square of unoccupied space on the ground you can see within range. A medium hand made of compacted soil rises there and reaches for one creature you can see within 5 feet of it. The target makes a strength saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 2d6 explosion damage and is restrained for the spell's duration. As an action, you can cause the hand to crush the restrained target, who must make a strength saving throw. It takes 2d6 bludgeoning damage on a failed save or half as much on a success. To break out, the restrained target can use its action to make a strength check against your spell save DC, escaping on a success. As an action, you can cause the hand to reach a different creature or to move to a different unoccupied space within range. The hand releases a restrained target if you do either. This was kind of showcased in the D&D movie, in the big finale, spoilers. There's a fight between hands, and one of them is kind of made of rock. It's running around doing stuff. It's kind of Maximilian's Earthen Grasp, but it
I
doesn't
thought those
really
were both
do...
Bigsby's hand,
One of them
right?
literally can't leave the ground, right? Like...
I don't know if it couldn't leave the ground. It just
That's
didn't
fair.
leave the ground.
It did. That could be that's a great point. Maybe it just opted not to.
Is
In
that,
any case,
what is it? Bigsby's Forceful something? What is it called?
I think it's called Arcane Hand now.
Yeah, well, it is on my review because
That's the
I'm not
SRD
allowed
version
to
of it.
use. Um, but whatever. Yeah, that's a fun one.
Mhm.
But that's what it felt more like to me. It's
That's fair.
just grab something and hold it.
It grabs multiple things. I think the text kind of buries the extra uses down the road in its lower text, but I think that's probably some of the most important words on it. This is another thing I would compare to Spiritual Weapon. This is another thing I compare to a lot of the bonus action attack stuffs, where you use it once, you attempt to restrain a creature, and restraining creatures is good, right? Removes their speed, they're stuck there, attacks have a disadvantage, you're happy with that. That also comes with 2d6 bludgeoning damage, right? So that's great, and you can squeeze on its turn to 2d6 you have to spend your action to crush it, which is,
Yeah.
a lot worse than Spiritual Weapon. But like, it's a reasonable thing to be doing with your action alongside the restrained condition. I have played many a frontline tank wizards that this at third level is a very fun option to play around with. Should you be taking it beyond that? Probably not. Your action for 2d6 restraint is not very good, especially because this has no upcast, and cantrips will start out damaging this very fast. For what it is, taking it at third or fourth level, I think this is entirely reasonable.
I like this one, I think, more than you do. Even I haven't given a whole lot of thought about higher levels, but I like the options it gives you. Now, I don't think, the damage is one of those things. The damage doesn't enter into it for me. I mean, I'm happy it's there, but especially, I don't think I would ever use this to do the crushing thing. I think your regular attack is probably going to do more or something
A
else
lot
you
of the time, yeah.
do. Um, but I love restraining a creature. I love that to get out of it. If it succeeds, if the creature fails their saving throw and are restrained, they're in it until, for the duration of the spell or until they waste one of their actions to attempt to break free.
Yeah, which is big,
That's
right? Like
yeah,
they are. If you can get it to fail the first save, you're kind of guaranteeing it eating an action. It doesn't necessarily have to take that action, but it is
well,
incentivized to, because restrained creatures have disadvantage on their attack rolls, right? So like even ranged options are pretty bad for them there.
yeah, I mean, that's a huge deal to me.
I think that
And then,
the other upside, right, is if when that creature dies, you still have something up that you can do something with, right? So if you want to try and
exactly,
restrain
yeah.
something else,
Yeah, or if they break free, I guess you can try and restrain them again or restrain somebody else, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, all the versatility makes this one a good one for me. I like this one.
Bring out. So the way it's worded, as an action, you cause the hand to reach for a different creature. I'm wondering if it's not holding anything. Are you allowed to attempt to grab a creature that is, if it has nothing restrained in it? I would assume the answer is yes,
Right.
but I'm
I
not
don't
entirely
understand.
sure.
I don't understand your question.
So if something breaks free of this,
Yes.
it says, it doesn't say anywhere that you can spend an action to attempt to regrab the same creature. It specifies different creature. So I don't know if you have to bounce between two things rules is written. I imagine rules is intended, the third little bullet point, as an action you cause the hand to reach for a different creature could be used in the same manner to grab the same thing. I'm
Well, the
assuming.
last line of that says if the hand releases a restrained creature if you do either. So I'm thinking, you've already got those restrained. You're letting it go to get somebody else. If nothing's restrained, then you can grab
It's a
whoever's
different,
available.
yeah, sure. A different creature to the one it is currently restraining may be a perfectly
Right.
reasonable way to read that. That again, that's rules is intended, rules is written, nitpicking on nonsense. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. I will say this: an action to restrain isn't amazing at most tiers. There are better saber dice than this. Hold person is way better than this at killing something, right? If you really care about one thing being paralyzed, Maximillian's Earthen Grasp was really good at that. And like, I don't love the situation where I attempt to restrain it, it saves. I don't know if I want to spend another action trying that again, right? That doesn't necessarily scream valuable time spent. And the ceiling on Hold Person, I think, is very high. Paralysis is backbreaking. Guarantees they're not getting a turn, and everything crits them. Maximilian's Earthen Grasp can hit different things. It has to be medium or smaller, so it's gonna be a lot of the same things that a Hold Person would. But like, it can also hold beasts. It can also restrain other things. So that's some difference in upside here, right?
Yeah.
I think if I really care about the condition, there are other effects I'm probably taking over this. And that's ultimately why I don't think it ends up being that amazing. And especially in the upper tiers when you're fighting against bigger and bigger things, this just stops having any meaningful text on it.
Well, are you comparing it to spiritual weapon earlier?
That was what in my brain it used a bonus action, and it takes an action.
Oh, right. But what about things
It's
like
way worse than spiritual weapon.
what about things like entangle?
Untangle
That,
with lots of targets, so it kind of serves a
yeah,
different
that's
purpose,
true.
right?
Yeah.
It's great at slowing lots of things down, where this is kind of great at stopping one thing. This is a saber die that you can kind of repeatedly. This is kind of comparable, honestly, to iBite, but it's way cheaper and way better than iBite. Where iBite is you can spend actions to impose conditions to a bunch of different things. This is you can spend an action to impose condition on one thing, and then if it breaks free, you can do it to a different thing, or you can do it to the same thing again, or you can just move it around as needed. Right when the thing dies, you can move it around as needed. It also comes with 2d6 bludgeoning damage. That's not nothing. I think that's genuinely big upside over Hold Person. Is this does damage on cast. So that is, if you're against medium-sized threats, 2d6 damage in a restraint is often all you need, right? You don't necessarily need to be critting something from orbit. You can just say, this is enough with damage, and then I can handle another medium-sized threat, and this is the one spell I'm casting for, again, the third or fourth level encounter whenever it's reasonable that can be the case. The upper tier stuff, past 5th level, I think this spell gets cast almost never, as it's just, there's so many more powerful things that need to be happening in those encounters that I don't suspect you want to be Earthen Grasping anything.
I'm not convinced. I think there's going to be times when
It's a medium or smaller restraint, Bob.
I know, but there are powerful medium things,
It's a
and
range of
things
30
that
feet too.
that's I just feel like there's going to be some times when you need to restrain something, and you'll want to have this.
Ideally, you'll want to restrain like 2 or 3 things over the course of a fight, is when I think you would want this most, right?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it
It
makes
could
me happy. It's
happen.
got a yeah.
I don't
Uh,
foresee it happening that much, but maybe. I like it a lot. I put this on a lot of character sheets, even though I don't think it's that good.
all right. Now remind me again. Restrained condition. Does that hinder somatic components?
Restrained creature speed is 0, cannot gain
Yes.
benefits to speed. Attack rolls against it have advantage, and its attack rolls have disadvantage, and it has a disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. The 3 lines of text that restrained does. It says
Okay.
nothing
No.
about somatic components.
Okay. So that idea is off the table. uh, I don't know. What else could you use it for?
Like, I like
What would it be useful, like most useful against? Not wizards or anything, but somebody somebody with high mobility that is using that to hurt you.
Or things making lots of attack rolls that need to get in melee range tend to be just be entirely backbroken by this, right? Like a single bugbear without a bow, if this grabs it, it'll do 2d6 damage. You can just leave it there if you need to, and it just struggles to get out for a couple rounds, and that's fine. And then you can chase it down with, with 30-foot move with the hand and grab something. Or something that you, again, mid-sized creature that 2d6 damage like does half of its HP-ish maybe, and you don't want to get any attack rolls out, and then you kill it with a cantrip and move it to, or someone else kills it with a shot or whatever, you move it to another thing that you want to restrain. That's where this ends up being quite reasonable, I think. Those are all going to be like moderate-sized, medium or smaller constructs, undead, melee threatening creatures, I think is where this kind of is at its best.
So, all right, I'm still thinking when this is going to be useful for upper tiers, and I had a thought and I lost it. Yep, gone.
That's out the window. Commenters, let us know in the upper tiers what encounters this is good at. Hit us up with those monsters that you think this would be great against.
What I was going to say is, I didn't have a specific example in mind. What I was going to say is the damage becomes, significantly
less important,
less useful, less important. But that's when you really want the restrained condition. This could still be useful.
True.
And I don't think that's going to be never.
I think it's going to be infrequently. You got a lot of other options. A lot of other options, Bob. You got so many other options in the upper tiers for restraints.
Yeah, that's true.
30-foot range. Concentration. All right. You can't even concentrate on like summon stuff when you're doing this.
Yeah, that's true.
There are a lot. Again, you're right. There will definitely be encounters where you'll be like, I'm glad I had a restraint on me in the mid to upper tiers, where it's like, elite soldiers or whatever, or a white, some like CR15 thing. Whites have longbows, so less so whites, but still maybe whites. Whatever you go, okay, stop it within 30 feet of me. It's not coming closer. All that fun stuff. That can be fine. They exist. See, I even gave you a monster. Whites, big, medium, scary, undead. But like most encounters, it's going to necessarily be the case.
Well, do you have a rating for this one?
I think this is probably a 3. It's fine when you get it. It is worse as you go. It is a spell that I really like playing with. I have played with it on melee-based wizards, like abjurers and stuff. It's cool if you do like the Earth Genasi sorcerer kind of thing, where it's like elemental bloodline kind of deals. That's very fun. It's deeply thematically rich, and you can, even though it's not necessarily like optimal or anything, having this be a reasonable damage spell that you lean on as a controlling, supportive wizard or sorcerer is a really fun time. So I would recommend it, especially if you're at tables where like min-maxing / like finding where you're expected to be producing optimal outputs and damage. This really doesn't do that. At tables that don't expect that, this is perfectly fine.
Tempted to agree with your 3, but I'm more tempted to bump it up to a 4. Especially in
wow.
There's so much versatility with it.
We never touched on, it is still a giant earthen hand that has a lot of opportunity to just do cool roleplay things, do cool like bending the rules of spellcasting a little bit and having fun with a giant rocky hand to throw stuff at people or break down stalls and whatnot. You could have a genuinely great time playing with this as more of a controllable hand with a little bit of DM flexibility. So that's just another thing to consider in its favor.
It's not what I was considering. I was considering just what it does, and I'm fine with it.
It does enough for you.
It does. I like that creatures have to spend their action to get out of it. It is concentration, but if you do grapple some or restrain somebody with it, then they're restrained for the duration, and you could do other things. And I don't know. You kind of sold me on it not being as useful in upper tiers, but not 100%. I think commenters might vindicate my decision.
Sure. Let us know.
Yeah. I think it's got more potential than if I had spent more than 5 minutes thinking about it, I could come up with some things.
I doubt
it. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Sam, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.